One time, Chum got me in the Old Man coffee, and he got a civet coffee.
Delicious.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Catch your coffee, baby.
What? Yeah, it's like this little monkey thing,
Yeah.
and it eats coffee beans, and it poops them out, and then they clean the poop off them, and then they brew the coffee. My dad liked it. I mean, I just couldn't get it out of my head that I was drinking poop.
I'll drink the shit out of it. Get it?
Down on the strip where the neon glows, there's a little shop everybody knows, where history's bought and treasures are sold. Gold and silver, stories unfold. When the doors close and the lights dim low, Rick and Chum kick back, friends they get to know. Gold and silver by day, but at night, my friend, pawn after dark is where the stories and laughter never end.
Welcome to Pawn After Dark, where Rick and I are just hanging out, chumming it up with some buds. And today
Why are we chumming it up?
Because that's a great word, one of the best words ever.
Yeah.
So today we're going to chum it up with UFC legend, Forrest Griffin. And let me tell you, it feels good to be on the other side of this mic. Rick, I want to start this podcast out like we do every podcast. Do you know what Forrest has that you don't?
One.
A good book, and not just one, two.
How good is debatable? Don't worry, Rick.
This is what I deal with every day.
I have books, okay?
One time,
And some of them, I even wrote some of it myself. Sure.
well, Rick wrote a book one time, and I'm not capping on his book. It was a great book. It sold, but he was distraught one day when we were walking through the airport, and me and Corey caught a glimpse of it on the blowout rack.
You're like, there's like 10 of them. They're like, we can't get rid of these guys.
No, we were walking through the airport.
No one owns more copies of that book than Rick does.
So we're walking through the airport, and Corey and Chum's just like, your book's on like 80% off rack. I'm like, really? And then they're just like, they're messing with me. That's all they do. They just kind of mess with me. Can we just start referring it to instead of chum it up, we could brick it up?
All right, well, enough about you. We have Forrest here today. Forrest, it's a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Nice pun, by the way. I got it.
We like to start these podcasts out with asking the guests to bring an item. Did you bring something?
I did. I brought an item. Let's do it. Which always makes me think of Jake the Snake. Unfortunately, it's not. I do not have a snake in here.
That would be pretty badass if you did.
Yeah, it would be.
Ooh-wee.
You know?
Oh,
it's heavy, right?
I guess he has a couple things you don't have, Rick.
I've had a championship belt or two, but I bought them off somebody.
So this isn't just any championship belt. You got to be a bad motherfucker to have this belt.
It's vintage, I believe they say, and it's valuable to me because it's unfortunately the only one I ever got. So to me, that's probably my prized possession.
So would it be okay if I just stood up for a second and tried this on?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, I never wore a real championship belt. Just
I don't think it's it might need to be. I don't think it'll fit.
I can hold it.
You've gained a few pounds.
Oh, baby, snap that in, baby.
Are you gonna wear that the rest of the show?
That would be disrespectful to Forrest, but I'm definitely gonna
go. There we go.
All right,
Rick. You might have a couple Super Bowl rings, but you'll never be a real champion like Forrest. And you know what? Neither will I, but it feels damn good to pretend like it for a few seconds. So, what's the story behind this?
I mean, let's see. July 5th, 2008, I got that belt right here in Las Vegas over, I want to say, at maybe the MGM, let's say.
So what UFC was that?
UFC, great question. 86. I don't know these things. I think, pretty sure.
I mean, UFC was big then, but
Well, no. UFC was going out of style right then. How far after was this, after your step?
This was 3 years.
So 3 years before this, the UFC was ready to go under.
Yeah.
So they did this crazy thing, reality TV.
Show, yeah.
We could talk about that, but basically they did the Ultimate Fighter. Forrest, Stephen Bonner had an iconic match at the end of the season, and the TV show brought fans back into kind of watching the UFC, but it made them excited. But the fight that you guys had really
pushed it over the top.
It pushed it over the top. It made, we might not have UFC in the same capacity we have today, if at all.
Who knows? But that's what I like to say. I like to take credit for it, whether it's true or not.
I like Dana White's kind of little speech when he's we're introducing Forrest into the Hall of Fame. He's like, oh, it's pretty funny. He's like, something along the lines of, you guys are saying why? Well, because he fucking saved UFC.
So, I mean, do you still work with UFC?
I do, actually, yeah. I've been there as an employee for 11 years. So
Okay.
I'm a success story. I have not had a job since the Ultimate Fighter shot in 2004.
Let me move this for you so you can get a little more comfortable. Yeah, there
Right,
we go,
right.
baby.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, because
putting things in my face.
Hey, you know, I've never wanted to stand down.
I don't think Chubb's had a real job in like 15, 16 years.
Well, it's hard to have a real job when you carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You've done that. You carried a company for many years, as well as I.
That's to me, that's a barometer of success. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of time you can go without having a real job. And the other thing, you've got this going for you too, is the number of bosses you can have. Like the amount of people that can tell me to do something is not that many. That's success to me.
Yeah.
There's only like 4 or 5 people that I really have to listen to.
Well, Rick's been
That's
telling me to do stuff for a long time because I've worked here at the pawn shop for 22 years, even though we've been on air for about 16.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time Rick was in Corey and everyone were at a bar 45 minutes away from my house. And Rick called me up and said, what are you doing, chum? Because I'm not a big drinker. I don't drink that often. What are you doing, chum? Oh, I'm just watching TV. It's like 11:30. I need you to come pick us up and take us home. We're too drunk to drive.
You invented Uber.
Drove 45 fucking minutes
to drive
across
45
town.
minutes. Yeah.
Picked up these guys. They had a plethora, the pool table, all the tables around.
I don't know.
just-
I mean, I don't know. If
And then that's where you came up with that pirate joke. So
Yes.
go ahead, tell Forrest your pirate joke. I had to listen to this joke 20 times on the way home, and he had a fake earring on that he found in the bar somewhere.
Okay. All right. So there's a pirate, and he's got a steering wheel in his pants. And he walks into a bar, and the bartender goes like, dude, you know, you got a steering wheel in your pants. He goes, it's driving me nuts.
22 years I've been listening to this joke, and I heard it 40 times that night.
That was a crazy night. Yeah.
It took me a second. Oh, it's driving me nuts. I get it. It's driving me nuts. I get it. It took me a second. I was like, what?
I'm like, I drove 45 minutes to listen to this joke all the way home.
Yeah, but he told it for 45 minutes. So
He told it great, yeah. And the fake earring, like the clip-on earring that he found in the bar was the best part of the whole
See,
joke.
I'm going to add that to my pirate joke repertoire. What's a pirate's favorite letter?
There we
No,
go.
it's the C.
Oh,
Man,
we have
learning stuff left and right.
compelling jokes on the side. All right.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm a dad. I have dad jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
So what was it like that first year of the Ultimate Fighter? Because I mean, you weren't originally like going to be a fighter. You were a police officer,
Well,
right?
I always wanted to be a fighter, and I failed, and became homeless and broke, and was broken a couple times, and living on my coach's living room floor on a mattress from back when he was single, which I don't like to think about. And I was like, all right, I gotta go back and get a real job, and I went back and fortunately became a cop again. Which the first time I was a cop was on accident. I went in to become a paramedic, and I was like, wait. 26 weeks I can get paid, and then I went to the cops and said, wait, I can get paid in 3 weeks? I'll be a cop. That's easy. The second time I could not get a job to save my life. I failed a polygraph. I failed a psychological. Yeah.
You know, I think that's all BS anyway, the whole polygraph and the psychological. I mean, like,
You could be one for sure, right?
I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer passed the polygraph.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. This is the truth. I failed and passed psychologicals with the exact same answers. So like I applied to like 6 different departments. I went into Gwinnett County, passed the polygraph. Cool. I go in. I failed the psychological eval.
So what's more nervous, taking your first polygraph or your first bout in the ring with just on national television?
Probably the polygraph. Yeah. This is probably why I failed. I got nervous. So it's funny. I didn't actually get nervous until I fought Quentin. So it was just kind of a side job for me. So I didn't think I was like, oh, I'm going to make it. Like, until that fight with Stefan, I was, it was like a part-time job that I did for fun, I was like, yeah, I make $600, a reason to stay in shape. It's fun. I love it, and it's like, but it's not, it wasn't at that time where you couldn't you couldn't be Chuck Liddell unless you were like one of 3 or 4 guys. It wasn't like that big. So, Yeah, I really didn't like. If you watch my early UFC fights, I'm just kind of like, la, nah, it's all cool. Like walking to the cage, like good to go. And then I was like, oh wait, I have an opportunity to like change my life, make some money. Oh boy, and that's like when they're like, okay, there's pressure.
So how did you handle like the first like going from a police officer to how did you handle from going from a police officer to basically being a person on a reality show, but you're still trying to be taken as a serious fighter?
Well, here's the thing. I'd seen like one episode of The Real World. So I really didn't know anything about reality shows. And so I was talking to the production team, which, you guys actually still work with some of them, which is crazy, Vegas. And then they were like, yeah, just like that, The Real World. And I was like, but I didn't see what episode, what they actually do. And the first season, they had challenges where we had to do crazy stuff, and they thought of wild stuff, and that is like killing each other in dry lake beds and wrestling in mud. They just did like insane stuff.
No, that was like the beginning of reality television. When we started, there was zero rules. Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, we were filming with an airplane. They took the doors off, and then the cameraman's got a camera. They're going like, just wear the seatbelt. You'll be cool.
Exactly. It was so, yeah, I mean, but you look back and you're like, those were the best times. Now it's like, okay, they have a playbook. They have stuff they want you to defer to. They know what's going to work for this audience, etc. Which, there's a lot of smart people making those decisions. However, when you guys were just doing it and you're like, let's see what works, kind of seat of your pants, there's some fun to that. Like, the UFC is awesome right now, but even 11 years ago when I first started working there, they were literally like, they were doing the finances like on one computer, It was like, they didn't have a budget for cell phones. Like, the only person that had a cell phone was Dana White. Nobody else, like, on the company, like, you had to use your own, like, long distance if you wanted to call Europe or Mexico. It was crazy.
Well, I mean, it's definitely one of the biggest companies out there right now. I mean, the parent company now owns UFC and WWF. It's like,
yeah.
WWF. Isn't it WWE?
WWE. And
it was WWF when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And
so,
so,
World Wildlife Fund sued them, right?
Yeah, and then they changed the WWE. But, I mean, so it's just this massive company, and you weren't there from the days of the tournament fights when they were, going all night, but you've been there since the beginning of really like when UFC started to turn around. I'm sure you've seen a lot.
That second era,
All right. So, okay, before we start filming, you said you grew up in Georgia.
Mostly, yeah.
Okay, and what made you were you a high school wrestler or?
No. It was during basketball season. I liked wrestling, but again, it was during basketball season. I went to University of Georgia and tried to play football, and really quickly I said, "Oh, yeah, there's levels to this stuff. Yeah, this ain't gonna be for me." And around the same time, I saw some guys fighting in a room, and then I saw the UFC on TV in my college dorm, and I thought I could do that. So I went and fought with the guys in the room, and Adam and Roy Singer. Roy was skinny at the time, Adam was fat at the time, and they both whooped me. And I was like 245, like a really athletic dude, and I just got smoked. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, who stole all the oxygen out of the air here? I was like,
yeah, to get that cardio up.
Yeah, but then when I got to the police academy, shortly after that, I knew some jiu-jitsu, and we did the Great Gracie grapple system, and like Lieutenant Tyson Merle, I think is his name.
That sounds like a Georgia name.
But very much so, right? He kind of started showing me more jiu-jitsu, and I was like, and when you're like good at something, and there's like 60 guys, and you're just smashing everybody, it's really fun. So,
have you ever done any jiu-jitsu?
No.
Yeah, I haven't either. I'm afraid I'll get hurt.
I'm not saying it's too late to start. But don't start. Yeah,
no, I'm not going to. I mean,
I
have a large brain to protect. Exactly. It's only got so much power.
For 10 years, I used to work out with Ramon Montoya, Floyd Mayweather's sparring partner.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was a few times we filmed where, we messed up just like doing pad work, and we had to come up with a storyline for me having a black eye.
That's awesome.
Remember those?
Yeah, I had a black eye. You came to work with a black eye.
So that's funny you said, because I was a cop on the night shift, and occasionally I would have a black eye. And I would like use my girlfriend's makeup to try to like cover it up because you can't just like show up as a police officer in 2001 with a black eye. People are like, what's going on here? Are you in Fight Club? And I'd just be like, yes, I'm in Fight Club.
So you're holding down a regular job, not a regular job, like a pretty difficult job, I'm imagining.
And then trying to go back and trying to finish school. So I was in college for like 6.5 years.
And fighting as a hobby / moneymaker.
Yeah.
I'm sure the money wasn't as good back then, though.
Well, you know, again, though, you look, you're like, it was insane. But at the same time, I remember I won the tournament, $200, no problem, cool. I won the tournament again. First time, I beat everybody like 2 minutes. Second time, I mean, I was just beat up, black eyes, needed stitches. It was like, yeah, you know, the gate didn't do as well. It's only $100 for this one. I was like, what? Why, you just changed that? It was $200. Like, yeah, we didn't.
Sounds like boxing back then.
We didn't sell a lot of tickets. Exactly, you know? It was awesome.
No, I mean, it's amazing how far the sport has come because when it first came out, this is brutal, this is terrible, you know, it should, you know, and, but like, I mean, I just think boxing got so crooked and so ridiculous that no one wanted to watch it anymore.
Yeah, it's hard. And, you know, boxing, I think boxing has ebbs and flows. Like right now, because of what the Saudi guys are doing, I think it's like the new golden era of boxing. Like I'm excited about boxing. Like the Bevel fight, I was excited about that. All the heavyweight fights you ever wanted to see, the Riyadh season guys are making it happen.
Yeah, they're putting big money behind it to make those fights happen, right?
And you know, and that's what the sport needs, right? Whereas the UFC, they kind of have to do it like, you know, not on a Saudi budget, you know?
You know, I absolutely love the UFC. There's a few rules that, you know, maybe I wish would change.
Which one?
I mean, definitely I think you should, like, be able to, like, you know, knee people. They shouldn't be able to, like, you know, have their knee on the ground and stuff like that.
So it's the knee on the ground, but they took the hands away.
They took the hands away.
So now it has to be your knee. So you can't play the game with your hands. You can still get knee.
Most of all, though, I wish they would change. And I understand why they don't, because everyone wants a high intensity, you know, it's an entertainment as well as but I wish they would change the scoring system. Right? It's like a little bit of a boxing scoring system. I feel like people out in the crowd, maybe they want to see, but I respect when someone could hold you on the ground, right? And if it's supposed to be like, hey, this is the BMF, like, and then he holds you on the ground for 4 minutes, like Habib holds someone on the ground, then they get to stand up and have another shot at him, which I'm okay with that, but I think the scoring's a little like more boxing, right?
Yeah, you're kind of more of a purist. And so in Pride, they used to do that. And they would have what they call the totality of the fight. So it wasn't scored by round, it was scored by the whole fight. It was a 10-minute round and then a 5-minute round, and then if need be, another 5-minute round.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, it's always going to be arbitrary.
Yeah.
It's always, I mean, when you have judges like that, just like in the Olympics, you get two gymnasts flipping around, like, and one's a 9.9 and one's a 10. It's just completely arbitrary, and it's depends if one of the judges got in a fight with his wife last night or got lucky with his wife last night.
I would say, so you mentioned Olympic gymnastics, and they've actually, so for combine scoring, that's the system I tried, the Olympic gymnastics system, women's particularly. That's a system I tried to copy because it's not that arbitrary. There's skills in each division, and each skill has a weighting. And then you get scored on that the level of that skill, and it's very clear what there's deductions for, etc. So I think they're making the subjective as objective as possible, and you don't hear about a lot of robberies in women's gymnastics.
There is
I think most of the UFC's.
I mean, I'm just saying, like in gymnastics, if someone sticks a landing, was that landing a 9.8 or a 9.7? And when you get like in UFC fighting, the Olympics, okay, that in between a tenth of a point could be like not even getting on the podium.
Right, exactly. You know, you're talking about, it's gold medal to 4th place, you know, or it's like the review, did her foot go out? No, 100%. I guess my point would be gymnastics has been doing it, and they've had problems and fixed them over 30 years. UFC's just now realizing, hey, we got to fix scoring now, right? Like, okay, people are fighting smarter, people are in better shape, people don't gas out anymore, so more fights are going to decision. We have to kind of change the scoring criteria. Another thing that makes it difficult is, remember, the scoring is done by a third-party commission. The UFC doesn't have influence over it in any way, right? And as they shouldn't, it's a third party. So they need to, one, get more money, get better judges, and, you know, again, come up with more criteria to objectify what is a subject.
I think something would be best is like you have a team of judges, they judge every round, and then you just have a subjective like fourth grading level for the entire fight.
Yeah.
Because, you know, let's face it, I mean, like you could have two rounds that are really, really close, and then I mean you got two rounds where like you got one guy just barely winning both rounds, and then the third round he just beats the shit out of the guy who should win. You know, and I think it's
the guy that came closer to finishing the fight. A lot of people agree with you.
Yeah.
Chum thinks that basically they should just fight until somebody quits or passes out. It's just like, just let them fight.
Well, I appreciate the UFC for what it is, and I do. I mean, I like watching it the way it flows. You know, like I can't tell you everyone's name, but I watch almost all the fights. You know, I got them on every Saturday. I got them on.
You know who I am. That's what
I definitely know who you are. You know.
Yeah. So
that
boxing forever, that used to happen. And Johnson, I forget his first name. He was the heavyweight champion back like the 20s. Mm-hmm. He had one fight that went like 68 rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of that fight, you get injured fighting. I mean, at the end of 68 rounds, I mean, like there's brain damage. So like, you know, I don't think you should go. We should not bring back gladiatorial games. Well,
so
maybe.
Where do you see, not necessarily the UFC going, but fighters in general? Because like you said, you just learned jiu-jitsu, you were training, and most guys, you know, around that time period, they didn't train like the kids today, right? These kids are starting at 8, 9 years old, and by 16, they're like primed and ready for the UFC. They're just waiting to turn 18.
Well, let's break that question into two things. Let's look at what people are doing very well. So social media and the velocity of information has changed the sport. So I used to pay money to go and hang out with some old guy and he would show us secret techniques in like a back room like this. And then we would try to do those so nobody knew. Now there's so many fights and there's so much information. There's so much footage out there. You can't do that, but you can learn a technique, right? You can learn a tutorial and go, everything's on YouTube now. So you can learn stuff off YouTube and try it in your home gym in Indonesia. Mm-hmm. The other part of that is what can fighters improve upon? It's actually scheduling. It's kind of a good needs analysis, figuring out what they need to work on and how much they need to work on, right? Because if you think about UFC, it's really weird. It's like the only sport in the world where, not in the world, but you're your own coach. You usually don't have like a coach. And if you do have a coach, they coach a lot of people. In boxing, the reason why those guys have to make so much money is a good boxing trainer, he has maybe 5 or 6 guys. But like, let's say Eric Nixick, he might be working with 20 different people in the course of a week.
Okay, so like, because I'm a nerd, I don't watch TV, and I don't get, I read books every night. So, okay, so you're a UFC
fighter. You're better than us. We get it.
Okay. So you're training, all right?
He knows that. You don't have to convince him of that, Forrest. He knows he's better than us.
Okay, so UFC doesn't. Hey,
Rick, who do you think watches your reality television? Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I mean, but so just suppose, I mean, you're up and coming. You have to pay for your own trainers and everything like that.
Yeah, you have to pay for your coaches, right? Now the UFC will help you with strength and conditioning, dietetics, sports science, physical therapy, sports medicine, whatever you want to call it. But you're going to have to pay for your own training. You're going to have to pay for your travel. Yeah.
All right.
So, and that is, that's a burden, and that's a relationship, and that's a financial interest.
It's a business, yeah.
Yeah. And, I give you a story. I left my home gym to come out to Vegas. My guys in Athens, the hardcore gym, Athens First Fitness now, I left those guys to get better training partners. Not because the coaching was bad. The coaching was good, but you can only get so much better if you're the best guy in the room. So I came out here where I wasn't, and I could work with people that were a lot better than me, etc., get more access to, different coaching, etc. But, there came a time when I gave them like a chunk of money, to kind of, hey, look, thank you for everything. Like, you guys let me live on your couch, when I was broke and had nothing. Like, you guys saw me through, what do we need realistically to make this right,
All right, yeah.
And so what's your role now, like, at the UFC? What are you doing now?
Yeah, we have the Performance Institute. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
I am. I used to live pretty close to it, right down the street. It's a massive building.
It is. Yeah.
Actually, I was there with you and TJ Lavin when we did the fight.
Yeah. That's right. You came in.
And I was the only one rooting for Oliveira that night. You and TJ. I forget who he was fighting, but you and TJ were.
I never rooted.
You weren't rooting for anyone, but TJ was.
Yeah, TJ was. I'm neutral.
You were actually pretty neutral.
I work for both.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. I work for everybody. So I'm the number 2 guy at the Performance Institute. We help set up academies. We help set up athletes training. And we kind of oversee and make sure that the services we provide our athletes with when it comes to dietetics, sports psychology, which is an interesting topic. That's a newest service, you know. And then obviously sports medicine. You get banged up fighting and strength conditioning, etc.
So you guys have like a pretty substantial gym over there in that facility?
It is. It's a good facility. So when you spend enough money on a gym, it becomes a facility.
And well, so
like
that leads me into my next question.
I'm just saying, Chumlee needs something with the dietetics.
That leads me into my next question. Like, Rick is, friends with Dana. Now he knows you. What is it going to take to get him in shape in that gym on a daily basis, consistent?
I mean, I think we can get you. I mean,
he's strong. He can lift, but we need to get him we need to get his body parts working properly again.
Lifting's huge, right? But the other piece to that would be mobility, right? So there's a bunch of research, like the more muscle mass you have, the more resistant you are to cancer, the longer you're going to live. You look at
Are we at the gym this morning? I was in the gym this morning.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have issues going to the gym though. I mean, that's as straight as my fingers get.
Yeah.
Okay. That's as much as my wrist move. I have one arm. This arm's an 1.5 inches shorter than this arm. This leg's an inch shorter than this leg.
You sound like a damn bull. Right?
Rick's actually in pretty good shape.
I've been riding dirt bikes since I was 13.
Yeah.
He did anything he could do to injure himself as a kid.
Yeah, no, I can't tell you how many times I've wrecked a motorcycle. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's,
So it's not that Rick's not healthy. I just need to get him healthier because my financial livelihood depends on him staying alive. Exactly. So I'm always working an angle.
Well, it sounds like he's going to be all right, but he just needs, mobility, like the movement stuff,
I just got
maybe some yoga. You think we can
put him in some hot yoga?
Oh, I don't know about that.
As he knew we were going to say it, he was already shaking his head.
I did hot yoga once. I thought I drank enough water. I drank like 2 liters of water, right? But I guess I get migraines sometimes. So a gnarly migraine after. I guess I need to drink extra water the day before, really start to hydrate.
That's the thing. Everybody, by the time you're thirsty, it's too late.
Yeah.
You need to kind of hydrate before you go in.
No, I thought that was good. I pounded a liter of water before I got there, and then I drank one in there, but no, I was not even close to it.
My problem is I'll do the 8 o'clock class, and, I have my half a pot of coffee, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting dehydrated.
Yeah, so you're a coffee guy?
Oh, God, yes.
Me too.
Yeah, I think.
How do you drink it?
We bonded over this. I drink good coffee, so I drink it as it comes.
All right. Well, actually, I know we have bonded over this before, and I drink good coffee as well. I actually brought you a bag of my favorite coffee bean. I don't know if you've tried this coffee shop, Take It Easy.
I have not.
So you've probably seen what's the one up the street? The Spanish coffee shop. They have one in
there's one
the mall in Summerlin too. I forget the name of it.
Spanish coffee shop.
Oh gosh, there's one right by the UFC.
Makers and Finders. Have you been there?
Okay, I have not.
So these guys this is the I don't know if I call it the sister company, but this is where they roast the bean at. This is a small little town in Chinatown, right on Wynn Road. Where Fo Kim Long and everything is. On the backside, just on Wynn Road, a little shop right here. This is the Nicaragua. I usually get espresso bean, but here I always get the Nicaragua blend, and it's all organic. It's beautiful.
It's because they sometimes, thank you very much, they sometimes get confused and they put the cocoa bean in here.
Yeah.
So one time,
I'll set it over here for you. So
that's awesome.
I remember we talked about coffee before, and I always stopped to get one of these on the way to work. It's out of the way, but I still go. And I was getting him a bag too.
One time, Chum got me in the Old Man coffee, and he got a civet coffee.
Delicious.
What? Oh yeah, catch your coffee, baby.
What? Yeah, it's like this little monkey thing, and it eats coffee beans and it poops them out, and then they clean the poop off them, and then they brew the coffee.
So the stomach acid of the cervals, whatever, it neutralizes any acidity in the coffee, and it's the smoothest coffee I've ever had.
But it's cat shit coffee.
It's cat shit coffee.
My dad liked it. I mean, I just couldn't get it out of my head that I was drinking poop.
I'll drink the shit out of it. Get it?
Wait, what do they call it again? I need to get some more. It's
Coupe Luau, I believe.
It's a civet coffee. The civet's the little monkey-like thing that eats it, then they poop it out.
I'll get us some.
They're beautiful. They're like half cats, half monkeys. They eat the coffee. They can't digest the beans, so they shit the beans out. But coffee's a fruit, you know, so they eat the fruit, right? And then they shit the coffee out. I actually have a coffee, like the tree, plant, whatever, coming, so I can eat the coffee fruit.
Really, that's pretty cool. Yeah. My cousin, he doesn't live here, but last year, so I went up there about a year and a half ago for like kind of a small family reunion. I hadn't seen him in years and years and years, and he had a small little coffee roaster in his garage. And we went out there, we started talking coffee, we roasted some bean right there, and I just watched him do it. It was super fun. Fast forward like a year later, he's opened up like a coffee roasting business. He's roasting coffee, so
that's awesome.
It's really cool. Like, I love coffee. I mean, it was really cool to actually like sit in the garage and roast a small batch coffee. I mean,
before I had my daughter, I used to have the whole like Gaggia setup where I had the burr grinder and I would grind it and I would tamp it and put it in.
Forrest the barista.
Yeah, it really was. I had the whole like, my wife was like, "You've taken up the whole counter." I was like, "Yes, I have," and it's worked.
So you grab a marker, you're like, "Rick the dick, your coffee's up."
Now I'm just like, all right, I want to flip the button, know what it does. I can't be.
You got the espresso maker. It's all, Rick put me onto that. I got one too.
I got. Have you seen the Juras? Where you press the button, it grinds it, and like that's the it does all that stuff. Yeah,
I took the plunge.
It's kind of bougie. I like it.
I was like I was kind of making espresso kind of the same way and everything, not on a crazy expensive one, just your run of the mill, couple $100 one, and I was like, do I really spend $1,500 on a coffee maker? And because I'm pretty cheap at some things, not others, as you've made fun of me for my cars in the past.
Well, you're a smart guy, though. Cars, watches, nice things like that, they don't lose value.
No.
You're going to buy a machine, you're going to use it. It's going to
Well, speaking of not losing value, this coffee maker that I spent $1,500 on, got me all my coffee shop money back in 6 months, and I still have it like 6 years later. So I will stop at a coffee shop from time to time, but the majority of the time I just make a cup and leave. But when I'm coming in here, since I have to go out of my way, I just always stop at this coffee shop and get.
So speaking of not making money, I have a great story about Chum. When Chum was not making a lot of money. So when we first started this show, I mean, we were like, first 12 seasons, it was like next to nothing. I was losing money on it because I had to close the shop down to film. And then like, but we had this contract for like 24 episodes. So then it was, they would give us like 10 grand an episode. But by the time you close down the shop and pay everybody, but Chum, they would give like $1,000 a week.
That's the first season they gave me nothing.
I know, but this was like this. Yeah, well, whatever. Like I guess.
No, it was the first season I got nothing. Then I got paid.
Yeah. So the second season, he's literally making like $1,000 an episode. But by the time he pays his agent, pays his lawyer, pays his taxes, he's making $400 a week. So, and out of nowhere, we become the #1 show on cable, and like we all want more money, but he especially wants more money. So they invite us to like this upfronts party. We don't even know what it is. It's in New York. It's in the advertising.
No, I was making zero money at that time.
No, you were making like $400 a week at that time. That was like.
You finish the story because this is great, but I'll correct you in a moment.
This was like really in March of.
You just finished this great story. This is my favorite.
But anyway, he's so pissed off about not making very much money,
and we're huge at the time.
So they put us up at the W in New York. Yeah. Okay, really super nice.
No. They put us up at that schwanky German hotel. It was in the meatpacking district, the Gansborg.
Okay, yeah, right. Maybe that was it. But I thought it was the W. But anyway, so Chum, like I said, is really upset that he's not getting paid any money. So the second he checks into the room, he gets out to room service. I need 3 bottles of Cristal, 2 bottles of Dom. This caviar that's $500 an ounce. I need 4 of those. And send it all to Rick's room because I really don't like that stuff. He had a $23,000 room service bill.
But I love caviar now.
That's crazy. What did they do?
They couldn't do nothing. We were the #1 show in
They
television.
changed the policy and made us pay for our own room service from then on out. But you know what? So I'll correct you on that story. I was making zero money at that point. Okay? The first season...
And yet you still liked caviar.
The first season I made zero money. Rick and Corey were cashing out. They weren't making crazy money, but they were cashing out. But I grinded out. I did it hard. I did everything I had to do to... Like you, I didn't watch reality TV, but instead I watched a couple episodes of Jersey Shores.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, they need a whipping boy. They need someone to joke around and have fun. So I did my part. After the season aired, Rick was like, hey, you know what, chum? You didn't make no money. I appreciate you. He gave me $30,000 like from his pocket. So I did make money that season, but it all came from Rick. You know, not from the History Channel. And the History Channel, they had told me years later, like the executive loves me out. They were like, we were about to get rid of you the second season because you did really bad in the focus groups in the first season. But when we went to redo testing groups at the second season, we realized that if we got rid of you, people felt different about you after a full season. Like they were kind of said, like, yeah, we realized you were an integral part of the show.
Yeah, it's a dynamic too. Having seen the show, it is
And we got really lucky, you know, time and everything, and having such a smart guy like Rick to lead the pack, and a brilliant person like me to hold us down and make Rick so successful.
Yeah.
But the second season was even better because I was making good money, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just a poor boy from Las Vegas, Nevada, right? Just like our friend TJ. I don't know nothing, right? I don't know. I'm used to making just a paycheck, living paycheck to paycheck. Okay, the whole year goes by, I make crazy money, good money. Chum, you know, my accountant called me, it's time to pay taxes. What? Yeah, you owe this much. And I'm like, I'm about 60,000 short. And they're like, what do you mean you're short? You made so much money this year. I'm like, but yeah, I spent it all. I never had money before. So Rick's like, I'm going to borrow you the money, chum. We're going to make more. You pay me back. And so Rick paid my taxes, basically.
1099s are no jokes. You know, you've always like, oh, but did you guys already take that when you gave me the money? And they're like, no, you're 1099.
It's goddamn theft, isn't it? Yeah, what? It's theft. It's theft.
So that was a valuable lesson.
It hurts less when it's, you know, kind of every week and, you know.
Oh, no, it just hurts in general. I mean, like
$600 back.
Yeah, I don't care if I make $100 or $100,000 or $1 million. I just pay quarterly now, so I don't have to worry about it.
Me too.
Yeah, I pay my taxes too. I fucking hate it, but I do. Good.
Yeah, but when you make that much money, you ain't worried about taxes, baby. You didn't.
Well, it's not even that much money. It's when you go from 0 to 1,000. You're like,
well, no,
man.
You didn't get here that early, so Rick didn't have time to tell you. But he's so rich, he actually just bought an airplane.
It's a little airplane. It's a 2-seater.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. It does. Yeah. It does. I mean, max speed. You know, like if I got a tail one's like 150 miles.
I am okay with it because it comes with a parachute, so that's my financial security blanket there.
Yeah. And by the way, my son, my youngest son Jake, who's 21. It's not my airplane because he's telling everybody it's his.
Well, if you were a 21, 22-year-old boy, you would too. And speaking of you and your airplane, I'm going to need to take out an insurance policy on you now that my livelihood revolves around.
Yeah, I'm learning I'm just learning how to fly. Okay, I always wanted to fly. My whole life I wanted to fly. Okay, and kept on putting it off and everything like that. I'm like, so it's getting a license and all that. So I built a hangar, bought an airplane, and then said, like, now I have to learn how to fly.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I landed it 5 times the other day.
Have you ever thought about flying an airplane? Have you ever tried?
I actually got to fly, I guess it was maybe an F-16.
Really?
With the,
Rick's not allowed to do that because he had epilepsy as a kid, so you can only get a sports pilot.
I wasn't.
Apparently I just found out that I can't get my regular pilot's license, but I'm just getting my sport pilot's license because I don't need to go. I mean, I'm not never going to fly at night. I just want to fly my little plane during the day.
No, I think you need a jet. Like me and Forrest need our own suite on that thing. Caviar, Dom Perignon, the whole 9 yards.
I don't know about that, but like my son Jake.
History Channel.
So like my son Jake, he's been on a few episodes, but he's 21 now. I mean, like damn near a PowerPoint presentation last week on why I should buy him a helicopter.
Ooh, well, I mean, you know, you make a lot of helicopters are super fun. You know, like the Grand Canyon tour. There's always helicopters.
Yeah.
You don't have any
I
kids,
told him you
right,
need a bag of
Forrest?
I do. Yeah, I got.
Oh, you have kids?
13 now.
Okay, well, I don't have any kids, so you know the pain.
Oh no,
of
I mean,
raising-
like no, it's like.
you know the pain of raising those little brats.
So how many
huh?
kids you got?
Just the one. Yeah.
How old?
13.
Oh, boy, girl.
Little girl.
Oh,
For
dude,
us,
I feel.
Rick had a
I feel
few
so.
of those.
Yeah.
For us, it's like the travel for gymnastics.
Oh,
Like, this is the first season. Like, I'm like, wait, we gotta fly. Like, we can't just.
can drive down the road.
Exactly.
Do state
Like,
stuff,
they don't
yeah.
do it here. We gotta go.
Yeah, 13 starts like.
Like, why?
That's
That's
what-
Oregon, like Hawaii, Florida. Like, they don't have gymnastics down the street. What?
Dude, I bet you are one awesome gymnastics dad.
Well, no, but it's funny. I started like I wanted to know because she got like a 7 on something. I was like, why? So I really did. I like deep dive. Like, what's gymnastics scoring? Like, how
So
do
when
you-
Rick broke that out, you're like,
Yeah.
no, I actually know about gymnastics
Yeah.
scoring, Rick.
I was
Yeah.
like, because of my daughter's 7, 3 years ago, I was like, wait a minute, what is
Yeah,
this?
so like you're not one of those dads like at football or baseball, like or little league, where you start yelling at the umpires.
Oh, trust me, I know, I don't know. And also, it's like crazy Russian, Bulgarian ladies. Like, I feel like they would beat me up if I said anything. Like, there's
Yeah,
a
some tough
hierarchy.
ones.
I like that. I really like the old Russian coaches because, like, that is the only. There's not a lot of toughness in society today with younger people, but you know,
They got their.
sport coaching is kind of like the last thing.
You need
where
that discipline.
Somebody's gonna, be mean to you, be rude to you.
Yeah, not everyone gets a
Yeah.
participation trophy, right?
Yeah,
Like,
some everybody does get a participation.
Yeah, but does it really mean anything?
It
If you have a
doesn't.
good coach,
It doesn't.
you know it doesn't mean anything.
No, they're like, it's not gold. It's not real.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I think kids need to learn that hard lesson sometimes, right? It's like it's good to build that character when you're young.
In life, you know what I mean. Everybody doesn't get trophy. Everyone doesn't get to go on the team. It's I mean, and sometimes you just have to realize, no matter how hard you work, it's just not going to work out. I mean, failure builds some character. If you
For sure.
think you should win every time, you just get some of these young people.
That's what happened to me with football. I was like, oh, yeah, high school and college, this is really different. I'm not good at this. I got to find something else. And, people come into the gym and they're like, okay. And I'm like, yeah.
Do you ever do some coaching? Do you have some coaching experience?
I have. I more coach coaches, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, kind of direct them and like best practices for coaching.
Yeah.
But like back in the old like Extreme Couture days, guys would show up. This is like 2007 through 2011. It was just like an amazing gym. Everybody was there, but people would quit their jobs, come out, and they wouldn't be that good. And I'm like, wait, you quit your job.
The dream
And
is
they were
real.
like, I'm like you, Forrest. I just left everything. I was like, I was 26.
Sleeping on couches.
I was 26 and I didn't have any dependents. You have 2 kids. I was good. You're not. Like, can you get your job back? And I would tell people, like, yeah, this might not be for you. Like, it's not
Well,
like.
it's everything. Well, because I mean, you would have people like, well, fuck, I could do that. Well, no, I mean, like, I know I can't do that. But
Exactly, right?
it's
You're
also like,
oh, yeah, I did some boxing. Yeah, it's really hard.
it's like people come to me all the time. They have this great idea for a reality TV show. I go, that's great. What are you gonna do the second episode?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah, no, but like, I mean, but when it comes to like fighting and everything like that, that is a serious skill set.
I actually want to change the subject here just a little bit and talk to Forrest for a second about
Well, we gave
probably
away. You want to talk
one of
about
the
when
cool-
we gave away the UFC awards?
No, I want to talk about probably his coolest job and how he feels about it.
Okay, which job?
When you catch the guy getting knocked out when they're slapped.
yeah.
I don't know what that job's called.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? Do you like it?
I called it. I don't know what it's
Slap
called.
catcher?
Yeah, I called it chief head catcher. Is what the title I gave myself. They didn't actually ask me to for the last one. Like I just saw it, and honestly, it's good to be nervous. Like it's good to have feels. I don't get like a lot of like, oh geez, I'm nervous. Like I don't get that a lot. But up there, I'm nervous. I'm not going to catch the guy, and I'm going to look like an idiot. He's nervous. He's going to get knocked out in front of millions of people and be like a meme. It's like there's a lot of energy on that stage, and it honestly feels pretty cool.
I mean, I've been trying to get Rick to take me and my friend there, and he won't do it. Yeah. He keeps taking his other friend Davey.
I'll take him to the next slap.
Maybe you can.
There was something
because Rick can't like, pull his weight.
When you hear about slap fighting, you're like, yeah. But when you see it, it is just like, whoa. You know what I mean? It's
it's definitely it's. So
it takes a pair of
iron.
Why
would you just sit there and let somebody hit you in the face?
I mean, you just got to have an iron. You got to be either crazy or have an iron set of nuts.
Yeah.
Just stand there and not flinch and let someone hit you with knockout speed. I mean, it's
even you're smarter than that, huh?
Yeah, I would not. Like, I don't have great reflexes, but.
There's no way I could do it.
Yeah, I could never, I would instinctively shoulder roll.
And I also think one of the reasons why that's so successful is because unlike UFC where you guys are all over the place, in slap fights they're standing still and they could have a 2,000 frame per second camera on this guy's face when it does the whole blah, 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 and the replays are insane. Yeah.
So yeah, that's got to be. How many times have you done that? How many people have you caught? Do you think?
It's probably pushing 20.
And they're just dead weight, right?
No, because it's worse. That would be easier because they're kind of there and they want to get back up and get back to it, but you're like and that's the thing too. It's kind of a hard job. You're like, dude, just let your butt hit, and then you can get up on your own. Like right now, you're just about You don't understand. I'm keeping you from falling back on your head again.
What percentage of them are like, no, I'm ready to get slapped again?
Some people fall. I've seen people fall forward.
Yeah, which is, it's a little better because then they fall over and then you can, all right.
And it's like 25% knockout, right?
Yeah, that's good. I think so. Yeah, I haven't looked. But
I don't know the exact number, but from all the ones I've seen, I'm saying probably 25% of the time you get knocked out.
Well, there's a little elephant in the room. I want to get off the table right now.
What's that?
That belt. How much is it going to cost to bring that thing home to the pawn shop?
Oh yeah, you guys can get that. I can get you one like that for like $1,200. No problem.
No, that's the one right there, baby.
It's the only one I got.
Well, I could get my girlfriend a.
How about I just borrow it for the weekend, and I'll go out to the bar and just wear it around and.
Well, it's cool. You can. The only difference, if you notice, is it's like 8 pounds heavier than the replicas. Yeah. And the belts they have now are just totally different design too.
So does every champion get to keep their belt, or?
So every champion keeps the belt. It used to be in the Demetrius Johnson days, he had like 12 of them.
Yeah.
He won like 13 times. And now
Mighty Mouse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bad one.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome. Now you get the belt and then you get another belt. No matter how many times and then that belt, they put stones in it. So they have like a whole setup where they put
things are blingy now.
Like actual valuable jewels in it.
So in the pawn shop, I don't know if we still have it in stock, because unlike TV, people don't realize I had probably 100,000 different items. We got all these people in. But I had a heavyweight championship belt from the 1920s.
Oh my gosh.
The buckle was that big.
On the back.
The front, there was a front buckle.
Oh,
okay, and it was like red, white, and blue, really thin cloth. That was the extent of the belt. And they just got bigger and bigger over time. But literally, the belt buckle that big.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, and then nowadays, I imagine they're even way blingier than this.
Yeah, no, they are. And like I said, they add jewels if you just keep defending or winning. Yeah, and then you get somebody like I don't know what they do, like Shevchenko. She won, repeated, got a belt, and then she lost the title, and then she won it back. So I guess she gets another belt.
Okay. Right. What about Pereira, man? He's gonna dominate. He's just gonna dominate for a long time, huh? Yeah. He's like when he came in the UFC, he just was.
He'll tell you he's here for a good time, not a long time.
Dude, he's such
older. He's high mileage. He's had a lot of kickboxing fights.
Yeah, but he's just so. When you watch him fall, it's so melodic. It's just he's just like. On another level, it's almost like the Matrix. Like he's just moving at a different speed.
Well, I mean, like it's like you got Mayweather, who just his fighting style, he barely ever gets hit. with UFC, I mean, you just can't get a lot of years of fighting in it. So
It's not your forever job. I like to tell
The
you.
young men are always coming up,
Yeah,
right?
there's always going to, and Pereira knows that, he's just trying to, not just cash out, but build that legacy in the amount of, I think he's 36, like one of the oldest champions out there. And again, he's been kickboxing for a long time. Remember, he didn't start training until he was like 20 or 21 in kickboxing. He was doing tires. And then he just, went to a boxing gym. He hit somebody and they were like, whoa.
I think everyone's waiting for that cash out match
You're
with
good.
him and John Jones. Hopefully it'll happen one day.
We'll see, we'll see. Well, Jones Aspinall is the big one, right? And that's apparently word on the street or word on the internet is $30 million. So, bless it.
I mean, there's big money in fighting, Rick. I think we chose the wrong career.
You absolutely did not.
you know what? I think we could you had like the whole Tyson with the one stupid kid.
Yeah.
They, what do you think they'd pay for like a pay-per-view, me and you fight?
They'd probably pay us not to do it. I don't think 30-second round, 3 30-second rounds is entertaining.
No,
Me and Corey actually met in a fight. Me and Rick's son when we were kids. Yeah, that's how we became friends.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, it was pretty pathetic actually.
Hey, look.
But, hey, you fought many people you became good friends with. I'm sure. Yeah, it's just how it works.
Steph Defal, and you think about it, like my friends that I still hang out with have knocked me unconscious in the gym. Not. I wouldn't say it was on purpose, but I mean, you hit somebody as hard as you can in the face. So is it an accident?
Yeah.
Not really.
Well, it doesn't matter how good friends you are. There's a little, sometimes ego gets in, testosterone gets in there, and it's just a cool bar story to say I knocked out.
Also, if you're training for a major fight or something like that, you don't want your sparring partners holding back any.
No, you have to. Yeah, you're right. You have to.
No, because I've talked to boxers over the years that that sparred with big guys and they want to don't hold back at all, because otherwise I'm not getting the full training. So go to work every day and get beat up is not, well, it's kind of what I do with you, but in a different kind of way.
Go to work every day and get beat up.
Random trivia.
I think that's a good way to end this podcast.
Thank you guys so much. I've been on this earth for a
I
long
appreciate
time.
you coming
So,
out.
fun fact, Friday, what
I
exactly
had a ball doing your
Yeah, it was my
podcast
website
many years
gig
ago,
because
and I think it was just as
I
fun.
know it all, but I know a lot of things. I will say I knew more things before Google, because now I'm like, is that right? Because they're about to Google it and find out the truth. So I better make sure I'm right. But
Rick always says he's better than Google. So if you're around Rick, you don't need to search.
Well, no, I
just
mean,
ask him.
I literally have seen documentaries on Netflix
Yeah.
and everything, and I'm sitting there going that's wrong.
that's
That's wrong.
yeah. No,
And I see stuff on the internet that's wrong. I mean, Wikipedia is terrible for it.
I heard somebody, and here's what, I heard somebody talk about the production of The Ultimate Fighter, and I was literally like, I was there. That's not what happened. That's just not true. And it's a major media guy telling the story, and I'm like, that didn't happen.
I've heard of 30 different interviews where these people I don't even have no idea who they are. They started Pawn Stars.
So I cut you off a little bit. I didn't quite get exactly what
Fun Fact Friday. It was just my wife's idea, because I'm always dropping weird, random knowledge or facts, and she's like, do a Fun Fact Friday, and so every time I would kind of come to something and kind of wonder what's the origin of this, the rule of thumb, let's look that up, or gaslighting, why do people keep saying that? I know where it comes from. Why do these people, I saw the movie when I was 16, from that, so I would just do it. And this year's, I've got a Fun Fact Friday I'm going to release this Friday about New Year's resolutions and how often we don't keep them. And my New Year's resolution is to actually do more Fun Fact Fridays, because I'm really slack.
Dude, I think it would be awesome one time if we got you guys together for a 2-minute Instagram reel, and you guys Fun Fact Friday to each other, dude. That would be pretty cool.
Just
That's right at Rick's alley.
random information. Yeah.
We used to make a joke with Rick before the show, because we would shoot the breeze up in the front, talk all day, and we'd always say, Rick, one day you'll find something to use all this useless information for. And little did we know that one day was a few years around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, people come in with random stuff, and Rick's like, oh yeah, I read about that. I know that.
Yeah, back in the day, what was it, 400 something BC when they started the Olympics, and we were wrestling.
This isn't show Forrest up on Fun Fact Friday.
Okay. But they tell you about how they didn't
He's a
allow
one-upper
women.
for sure.
You heard those stories of where they didn't allow women at the Olympics? They did. They just didn't allow wives prostitutes and single women could go to the Olympics.
Okay. All
And
right.
the original Olympics, like, you know, over 1,000 years ago.
Well, there you go. If you didn't know that, now you do.
No, I do, yeah.
And everyone competed naked.
That, yeah, I mean, it appeared they did, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know why the penises are so small on one of the statues?
Because
It
they're in
is-
likeness of Rick.
No.
No. A guy's junk is smaller on a statue because if it was life size or even bigger than life size, that's where all your attention go. Your attention is supposed to go to the art, not the junk.
So, it was pretty much, it was seen as a form of like moderation or like,
Yeah.
Don't put your focus on it like.
Yeah. So you were supposed to appreciate the whole thing. You weren't
Right.
supposed to be looking at some guy's enormous thing. But
Yeah.
like the Romans, they had enormous dicks everywhere. So like,
There you go.
Yeah, Rick loves a good dick joke. When he does something hard, he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna suck the bag of dicks."
well, no, like what do I? No, what do I always say? Like when you say before we start filming Pawn Stars, like let's go suck the day's dick.
Let's go. And like Pawn Stars is a blast. I had so much fun doing it.
Oh, I loved it. It was the.
I just think he just likes being vulgar and like.
Yeah, no, but
That's
for
the
over
thing about
15
it.
years, it literally was the funnest. I mean, we still might do another season. Who knows? But it's the funnest job in the world. I get to be the
You get to work with me
Most of the time, it's pretty fun with him.
most of the time, or more
There's
than
been a
all
few
the time?
times he was a diva on set.
So the one here's
He needed the cat shit coffee. He was like, I need this coffee.
I need civic coffee, Rick, or I'm going to roast you until we get this done. I'm the only one who can keep Rick in line because not that like I have any command over Rick. He'll just go through it and get through it as fast as he can so he doesn't have to listen to my shit.
There you go.
I think that's a good way to end this
It
podcast.
is. Thank you guys so much. This has been great.